Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thank you very much for watching our earwax removal video today. If you've never come across our channel before, we post new earwax removal videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 PM UK time, so please consider subscribing. So without further ado, we'll go straight into the video and I'll explain things as we're going along. So what you'll see here, this lovely lady came through to clinic, very blocked up ears, both sides, really struggling with the hearing, and it has been since March. Because it's been, obviously we've had local lockdowns, you haven't been able to get treatment for this through the NHS. So this lady has basically tried everything to try and remove this. We've had hoppy ear candles in here, Q-tips or cotton buds, drops, everything's been thrown at this wax. But as you can see, the wax is really deep. So when it's this deep in the canal, it's never going to come out with drops alone. It has to be physically removed. I think looking at the shape of this wax that probably where the Q-tip or the cotton bud's gone in there, it's pushed and compressed this wax much deeper as well, just out of sheer desperation to try and get this out. But what we've got here is the standard size Zollner tube in here, so a nice wide end on the Zollner there. And what we're doing with this, because this particular part of the ear canal is very sensitive to touch, you've got the eardrum sitting behind this wax, and then the wax itself has been pushed out and compressed against the canal walls. So this is actually sitting in the skull portion of the canal. So when you press on that, it's really sensitive. So we've got to be really careful and very mindful of comfort for patient at this point. So what we do with the Zollner tube is we come down to the wax and we hover just above it, and what that does, it draws the wax towards the suction. So we're just trying to draw it away from the canal walls and trying to get a little bit of movement so we can bring it away from the eardrum, so we can work on it and get a little bit more pressure on it from that point. So you can see here we're trying to pull down from the top left canal wall. There we are. The consistency of this wax is a very thick, sticky type of wax, and there are some hard pieces interwoven into the middle of it. So what you'll find then is you want to try and hold on to the wax and very gently and slowly move it, because you want to try and keep it as together as it possibly can in one piece, because it's going to be very tough to remove if anything breaks away from this front section, just because of where it is in the canal, and a lot of the time you have to work around bends, which is always really difficult. So what you can see there is we've managed to pull the top piece down. I'm trying to pull from the top right across to the left, so I'm trying to draw it around the bend and bring it down the canal away from the eardrum. You can see the wax almost sort of jumps up towards the suction, so you know when you're looking at it, then you know you've got that good grip then when the wax moves towards the suction. And you can see I'm using this kind of diagonal drawing kind of pulling method, which is we pull down and bring it back towards you, so you're making this kind of backwards motion with this, and that's just drawn this top section away here. You can see the consistency. I know we don't, I try not to make food analogies, but if you look at a fig roll or a fig Newton, the center of that, but imagine that a little bit thicker, so a little bit harder as well. So we've got a good grip there on that section. You can see little tiny hairs embedded in there as well. Really dark in color, old wax. This one's been here a long old time. Now, unfortunately, what's happened is that front section's peeled away and left this rear section behind. Now, this section here, the ear canal as it comes down to the eardrum, actually just, you get this kind of this recess that's just at the side, which in this case on the right hand side there, and the wax has actually been compressed around that recess. So what you can see from the front is just that this kind of more left hand side of the wax, there's a lot tucked down the right side. Now, what we're trying to do here, it's difficult because we talk about the valley as well. So what you've got effectively is this gap at the bottom here, this V-shaped valley at the bottom that goes all the way around the side. So the wax is compressed down in there. So what we have to do is we have to try and lift it out of the valley and bring it around from the right side. But when you lift, you can't lift too much because it's going to push the wax against the eardrum itself, which is really uncomfortable. So a really delicate, small movements as best we can here until we get this moving. You can see I'm literally just ever so slightly rocking it back and forth. The reason there's a little bit of blurring here, I did introduce a little bit of olive oil just to try and help this slide out of that space a little bit more. Now we're pulling from the right to the left. We're trying to draw out from around that recess now. just gently, the same movement we talked about before. We're making this crossways movement and then drawing it towards us there. I've just turned the brightness up a little bit on the endoscope here so we can get a better view. So we're just drawing across and then towards. You can see how we're gently teasing this from around that corner. Trying to keep the whole thing in one piece. I want to leave as little as I possibly can around this corner because it's really, really tough to remove from that recess just because of the angles involved in the canal. There we are. Now we've drawn it quite a way now, so we can lift this front end without causing it to press against the eardrum. There we are. See how now we're just getting this little bit of rocking movement to the whole thing. You've lifted, it's coming out the valley, it's come around the corner. Here we go. There we are. So you can see this really, really dark wax here. You can look at the length of that. You can see just how much of it was hidden behind that recess. So you can see the eardrum there. All the blood vessels have come to the surface over the hammer bone there and all around the edge as well. So this eardrum is a little bit pulled in, so that's why the blood vessels have come to the surface. You can see what I mean about this piece to the right-hand side. Really difficult to do. What you have to do to get in there is actually physically bend the fine end. So instead, you imagine your fine end, best way to show this. Imagine your fine end is straight like this. You kind of bend in the middle. So you get this kind of almost this hook, this bend around, and that's what you're using to try and get those pieces. So we're just chipping a little bit off the top here. You can see a little bit of dry skin there. Bless him. Patient sat through a lot. It was a difficult one to remove, this one, just because of just the location of the wax, unfortunately. I'm just going to have one little go, see if I can get to this piece here on the right-hand side. You've always got in the back of your mind a duty of care to your patient. The last thing you want to do by trying to remove something like this is to cause more damage. So unless it's really safe to do so, I would normally leave something there. If it was only small, it wasn't pressing against the eardrum, which it's not, then the next bath or shower is going to be able to wash that away really effectively and take that away very, very safely. If you're trying to work around a bend and push down against the eardrum, you run a risk of causing damage to that eardrum. So it's always better to leave something in situ and leave everything intact without any risk than to try and go in there and remove something and sort of run the risk of perforating that eardrum. So this is the same patient, but this is the second ear. Remember I said at the start, feeling very, very blocked up in both sides. So we're just using the same technique here, first of all, with a standard size ulnar tube, just pulling away from the canal walls. You can see where it's just been pressed and pushed against that canal, and then it's dried into that place there. That's lovely. You're just starting to get a bit of a wiggle on it there. It's starting to move. If you are enjoying the videos, guys, then please don't forget, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, drop me in the comment section below. I'm reading as many as I can. I can't reply to many at the moment. We're just so busy with everything that's going on, unfortunately. But I will try and answer them in the next video if I can. So you can see now we're just trying to pull this wax down. There we are. It's coming away really nicely now. A lot of people have been posting, asking the question, does wax, does it have an odor to it? It doesn't when it comes out of the ear. You don't really get an odor to wax. And it's not linked to sort of baths and showers. Wax production is a very personal thing, so you can shower every single day and still get wax in your ears. That was another question somebody asked on the last video as well. There we are. You can see this coming away really nicely now. It's really dark in color, same as the other side, but stayed together really well and not as impacted, so it wasn't pushed down against the eardrum. You can see those blood vessels had come to the surface on the drum again there. So this is what we removed. You've got these little pieces. Some of the smaller bits got sucked into the tank as well. So we've got 2.5 centimeters. Oh, I did it again. I forgot to read the inches for it zoomed in. I would say that's about just over 3/4 of an inch there as well. So yeah, quite an interesting one. You can see when we look at videos like this why we say to try and avoid Q-tips if you can, or cotton buds, because that force of pushing that in has compressed that wax into all the places it really shouldn't have been, which makes it a really difficult procedure to remove, and you're working very, very close to the eardrum. So what my suggestion would always be, if you're feeling really blocked up like that, always try a little bit of olive oil first. See if that loosens everything up in there for you. And then if it doesn't, then go along to either your GP or come along to see an audiologist like ourselves. We can take a look in there then and see exactly what's going on for you and give you the best advice. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. As always, take care of yourselves and one another. I shall hopefully see you again on Friday if I get time to edit another one in. So look after yourselves, bear with us, guys, as always, and we shall see you real soon. Take care.